Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the invitation to speak here today. My name is Bjorn Loven, and I'll show you data from two projects in Greece, both of which are under the Danish Institute at Athens and the effort of underwater antiquities. So first, if you go to the, let's stay here for a second, because there are two interesting sites, because one side is inside a modern harbor, the other side is untouched on a coastline. And what I wanted to show today is, what we will be seeing is ancient harbor structures, and I've made three different groups of harbor structure: big ones, medium ones, and small ones, which we'll see, and I hope to discuss how these can be used within the project. I should say that all the data that we see here today has a precision, margin of precision, the digital data of about 1 centimeters in XYZ, and we also work. Can you hear me? Did you hear what I said before? Good. So, and we have also conducted a geophysical survey with Dr. Papatheodorou from Patras University, and I'm not showing geophysical data here, but our geophysical data is at a margin of precision of about 10 centimeters. So, next slide, please. We now turn to the Piraeus. Next slide. We have been working in two harbors in the Piraeus, both of which were naval harbors. These were the naval bases of ancient Athens in the 5th and the 4th century BC. And I'll just flip through some slides because I understand I have 10 minutes. So next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Good. Here you see a reconstruction of the naval bases. Let's take the next slide. Good. Just to give you an idea, we'll be seeing the Group 1 shipsets in the northern side of the harbour, and I'll be showing you the harbour fortifications as well. So if we go to the first one, next one, please.
Next one.
Yeah. Sorry. Good. This is what I would call a medium-sized site. The structures here are about 1.6 meters wide, and these are the shipsets in Bonita Harbour. They're very important because they date to the late 6th century BC, early 5th century BC. So they, in all probability, housed the triremes that fought at Salamis. So this is, of course, a site that would be very important to monitor. And here I'm thinking we could monitor sedimentation and also if any boats enter the area. Next slide, please. And here's your reconstruction. Next slide. Good. The harbour fortifications are much larger structures. Here you see one of the towers, Tower MT1. These are the harbour fortifications of Bonita Harbour. Both harbours all three harbours in the Piraeus had massive harbour fortifications that created a gate towards the sea. And you see this tower here, it's about 13 meters in diameter. If we take the next slide. We have another tower here situated just at the surface of the sea. Next slide, please. The tower itself is 11 by 11 meters wide. The actual fortification walls of the fortified mole is about 10 meters wide, and we followed it for 146 meters. So it's what I'll call a large size. This is monumental, as the next reconstruction shows. Next one. Oh, sorry. Go one, back one. Oh, I'm missing one slide. Next one, please. So I'm going to show you some data from ITACA, which is our new project, which I'm the co-director of, together with Dr. Dimitris Kourkoumelis. And we've only worked there for one season, so it's a good example of what we will find if we go to a site the first time. So next slide, please. As you know, Lechaia is the harbor city, the eastern harbor city of ancient Corinth, and there are two harbors. It's a very important area because it was sort of the crossroads between the Eastern Mediterranean and the Western Mediterranean, and also between northern Greece and the Peloponnese. So this is really an important crossroads, both in the Bronze Age and all the way to actually to the Venetian period. So if we go to the next one, I just wanted to show this also because we're in Sicily. We should think that the first colonists from Corinth, they probably went from this shore to colonize Syracuse in 733. Next slide, please. So we've documented structures along 911 meters of shoreline, and here you see what we found during the first season. Next slide, please. Again, we have what I'll call big structures, which are this mole here is, we followed it for 70 meters. It's 16 meters wide. Next slide, please. This is the middle mole. We followed it for 35 meters. It's 15 meters wide. So I think this is really something that can be picked up and used as a test result with satellite remote sensing. Also, the blocks are very big. The individual, I understand that the resolution is around 1 meter to 1 meter 0.6 when you're using the satellites, and when you enhance the data, you can go down to around half a meter. So here you would actually be able to pick up the individual blocks because they're 1 by 2 meters. Next slide, please. This is the entrance to the inner harbor. As you can see from the Google image, this site will also be interesting to document using satellites, because there's both an inner and an outside harbor. So there's sort of a submerged area in the sea, but there's also submerged areas on land in a lagoon area. Next slide, please. This is again an example of what I'll call a medium-sized structure, because, I mean, this is a mole. It's 73 meters long and 8 meters wide, but it's a frame construction of fairly big blocks on the side, up to 1 meter, 1 meter and 20. But the fill is of rock, and I'm wondering how this would be picked up on satellite radar. Next slide, please. We have the entrance to the inner harbor, and as you can see, it's this. To give an idea about size, this piece here is this piece here. We followed it for 43 meters. It's 12 meters wide. It's 9 meters, so we know that only ships that are around 9 meters wide could enter the harbor. And again, I would be interested to hear if the expert thinks that this could be picked up on satellite radar. So if we go, next slide. Good. And then we found 2 areas of caissons. I'll show you in a second. Next slide, please. This is one of the very rare examples of wooden caissons filled with rocks and hydraulic cement that has been found in Greece and in the Mediterranean as a whole. We don't know the date yet. We haven't carbon dated it, but we are really thrilled. We found 13 of them in all. And these structures, I mean, the wooden cases themselves are up to 25 meters wide. So this is what I'll call an example of a smaller structure. I'm not sure if that could be picked up, but I'm quite sure, or I hope that the fill of the rocks and the concrete could actually be picked up. Next slide, please. Here you see another example, and then the last example I have from Lake Hyan is a breakwater. Next slide, please. And that could definitely, it's 70 meters long and 12 meters wide, so breakwaters, it's located down here. So next slide, please. So the question that I wish to discuss is to what extent can satellite remote sensing techniques be used to locate, document and monitor ancient submerged and partly submerged age and harbor sites. Next slide, please. This is another site in the Palermo. It's the 4th century BC ship sheds, and as you can see, it shows the differences that we're working with. Here we have ship sheds inside a basement, and here we have ship sheds in the sea. And it would of course be interesting to monitor these structures. And if we press the next one, please. This shows that this area has actually been protected under the archaeological law, and I'm also thinking that I don't know how often satellite images are taken, but they could also be used to monitor that boats are not moored on archaeological sites, because anchor ropes and anchors are really something that destroys shallow water archaeological sites, so this will also be very useful. So that's an overview of what we have been doing, the effort of Underwater Antiquities and the Danish Institute at Athens, and I'd like to thank the effort of Dr. Simonsi, and I also see that Dr. Della Porta is here. She's been a great friend to the Sea Harbor project in the past. Thank you.